Transfer Roundup. Hojlund opens doors to Milan, while United issue Antony Ultimatum. Welcome back to United News, your #1 source for all the latest Manchester United transfer developments. While everyone's attention has been focused on the exciting new signings and Sunday's big match against Arsenal, there's been plenty of movement behind the scenes with players heading out of Old Trafford. Today we're breaking down two major developments that could reshape United's squad before the transfer window closes. The Hojlund breakthrough. Milan move finally on track. The big news everyone has been waiting for finally arrived courtesy of transfer expert Fabrizio Romano. After weeks of stubborn resistance, Rasmus Hojlund is finally opening doors to a move to AC Milan. This represents a massive shift from the Danish striker, who had previously been determined to stay and fight for his place at United. But with Benjamin Sesko's arrival making his path to regular first-team football much more difficult, Hojlund appears to have accepted the reality of his situation. So what changed Hojlund's mind? And what does this mean for Manchester United's transfer plans? Why Hojlund finally said yes. Just a few weeks ago, Hojlund was reportedly taking a dim view of the terms being discussed between United and Milan. The young striker wanted to stay at Old Trafford and prove himself worthy of a place in Amorim's new system. But football can be a ruthless business, and Hojlund's situation became clear once Sesko was confirmed as United's new #1 striker. With the Slovenian giant arriving with a huge reputation and the full backing of the manager, Hojlund's chances of regular first-team football suddenly looked very limited. Transfer insider Rudy Galletti had previously revealed that if Hojlund were to leave, he wanted it to be a permanent move rather than just a loan. This caused complications in negotiations with Milan, who preferred a lower-risk loan arrangement. However, Romano's latest update suggests that Hojlund has become more flexible in his demands. The key phrase is that he's opening doors to Milan. This suggests he's finally willing to listen to what they have to offer. The financial details. The numbers being discussed represent a significant loss for United, but sometimes you have to accept reality in the transfer market. According to Romano, the deal being discussed involves a €6 million loan fee, with a €45 million buy option clause. If Milan activate this option, the total deal would be worth €51 million, which equals around £44 million for United. This is a far cry from the £72 million, including add-ons, that United paid Atlanta for Hojlund's services. However, his performances in England haven't justified that massive fee, and his value has dropped accordingly. From Milan's perspective, this represents a smart piece of business. They get a talented young striker on relatively low-risk terms, with the option to make it permanent if he proves successful in Serie A. For United, it's about cutting their losses and moving forward. The £44 million they would receive could be reinvested in other areas of the squad that need strengthening. Why this makes sense for everyone. While United fans might be disappointed to see Hojlund leave, this move actually makes sense for all parties involved. For Hojlund, Milan offers the chance to play regular first-team football in a top league. Serie A has historically been kind to strikers who need to rebuild their confidence, and Milan's style of play could suit his strengths much better than the Premier League's intensity. For Milan, they get a striker with genuine potential at a reasonable price. If he succeeds, they have the option to make it permanent. If he doesn't, they can send him back to United without major financial loss. For United, this deal clears a significant salary from their wage bill and provides funds that can be used elsewhere. With Sesko now leading the line, supported by versatile attackers like Cunha and Bumo, United have plenty of attacking options without Hojlund. The Antony situation. United's ultimatum. While progress is being made on the Hojlund front, the situation with Antony has become much more complicated and potentially confrontational. The Brazilian winger had an excellent loan spell at Real Betis last season, scoring 9 goals and providing 5 assists in 26 games. His performances were so impressive that many expected him to earn a big-money move this summer. However, Antony has made it clear that he only wants to return to Betis, and this has created a major problem for United's transfer plans. Betis playing games. Real Betis are clearly very interested in bringing Antony back, but they're not willing to pay United's £34 million asking price. Instead, they're trying to find creative ways to structure a deal that works better for their budget. Reports suggest Betis are considering either a loan proposal or a split ownership arrangement where they would take a percentage of the player while United retain the rest, banking on future resale value. This kind of creative financing isn't unusual in modern football, but it's clearly not what United want to hear. They need to raise funds to complete their own transfer business, and complicated deal structures don't help with immediate cash flow. United's frustration boils over. According to reports from ABC, Ineos have grown increasingly frustrated with Betis' negotiating tactics and Antony's refusal to consider other options. The response has been characteristically direct. United have reportedly told Antony that he must accept one of the transfer offers on the table this week, or risk being left in the stands until January. This represents a significant escalation in the situation and shows that United are no longer willing to accommodate players who won't help facilitate their own transfers. Why United are taking this hard line? United's ultimatum might seem harsh, but it makes perfect sense from a business perspective. First, Antony is taking up a squad place and significant wages while making it clear he doesn't want to be at the club. This isn't sustainable for either party. Second, his refusal to consider other offers is limiting United's ability to recoup some of the massive fee they paid for him. Other clubs have reportedly made approaches, but Antony has turned them down while waiting for Betis to meet his demands. Third, United need to show they won't be held hostage by players who want to dictate their own transfer terms. Setting this precedent with Antony sends a message to other players that cooperation is expected. The broader picture. These two transfer situations highlight the reality of modern football squad management. Not every signing works out as planned, and sometimes clubs need to cut their losses and move forward. Both Hojlund and Antony arrived at United with high expectations and significant transfer fees. Neither has lived up to their price tags, but that doesn't mean they're bad players. Sometimes the fit just isn't right. The key for United is to learn from these experiences and make better decisions going forward. The early signs from this summer's incoming transfers are encouraging, with players like Sesko, Cunha, and Bumo all seeming to fit Amorim's tactical system perfectly. Squad depth considerations. Some United fans might worry about losing attacking options like Hojlund and potentially Antony. However, the club's planning suggests they're comfortable with their depth in these positions. Joshua Zirkzee remains on the books as backup to Sesko, while promising young striker Cheeto Obi is ready for more opportunities. Cunha and Bumo have both operated as strikers at their previous clubs when needed. The decision to operate with a more concise squad makes sense given United's lack of European football this season. Fewer games mean fewer players are needed, and quality becomes more important than quantity. Financial fair play implications. Both potential departures would have positive implications for United's financial fair play position. Removing Hojlund's wages from the books while receiving a £44 million transfer fee would significantly improve United's financial picture. Similarly, moving Antony on would free up substantial wages, even if the transfer fee isn't as high as United would like. These financial improvements could then allow United to pursue other targets in the remaining weeks of the transfer window, particularly in areas where they still need strengthening. What this means for team chemistry. From a squad harmony perspective, resolving these situations quickly would be beneficial for everyone. Players who don't want to be at the club can negatively affect team morale and training standards. Getting them moved on to situations where they'll be happier allows the remaining squad to focus fully on United's objectives. It also sends a positive message to the players who do want to be at United that the club won't tolerate half-hearted commitment or disruptive attitudes. The transfer window timeline. With the transfer window deadline approaching, time is running short to resolve these situations. The Hojlund situation appears to be progressing well, with Romano's update suggesting that personal terms discussions are advancing. If both clubs can finalize the structure of the loan deal, this could be completed relatively quickly. The Antony situation is more complicated, but United's ultimatum suggests they want it resolved within days rather than weeks. Either Betis will meet United's terms, another club will step in with an acceptable offer, or Antony will face the consequences of his inflexibility. Looking ahead. Assuming both players do move on as expected, United will enter the new season with a significantly different squad composition than many fans anticipated at the start of the summer. The attacking options will be more suited to Amorim's tactical system, even if there are fewer of them overall. The focus on quality over quantity should lead to better performances and fewer selection headaches for the manager. The financial benefits of these moves could also allow United to make one final push for additional signings before the window closes, potentially in areas like midfield where further reinforcement might be beneficial. Conclusion. As we've seen throughout this transfer window, Manchester United are taking a much more decisive approach to squad management under their new leadership structure. The Hojlund breakthrough shows that persistence in negotiations can pay off, even when initial positions seem incompatible. The players' willingness to finally open doors to Milan suggests that common sense has prevailed, with all parties recognizing that a move benefits everyone involved. The Antony Ultimatum, meanwhile, demonstrates that United won't be pushed around by players or clubs trying to dictate terms. While some might see this as harsh, it's exactly the kind of strong leadership that United have been lacking in recent transfer windows. Here at Unite United News, we'll continue to follow both situations closely as they develop in the coming days. Because when it comes to the moves that could define United's season, you deserve to know exactly what's happening and why it matters for the club's future. The transfer window might be entering its final stages, but there's still plenty of business to be done. And with United finally showing they mean business in their negotiations, fans can expect more decisive action before the deadline arrives.